Let's talk about how focusing on helping your community can flip the often difficult decluttering process and make it easier and more rewarding. Usually, people focus on decluttering and then they donate their items. But today, we're going to flip that and we're going to focus on donating first and then tackle a decluttering task with an eye for looking for items that we can donate. Hi, I'm Susan from Organize 31. I'm a professional organizer, mother of three, and I've moved 25 times thanks to the military across the country and around the world. I understand the decluttering process. I've also worked at food pantries and charitable thrift stores, and I have insight into how donations are processed and what types of donations are really needed in your community. I have a unique understanding of both sides of the donation process. And with my experience, I understand the items that are most needed in your communities, and I can help you find the best places for you to donate those items. Today, we're going to talk about the whys and the how-tos of decluttering when we're focusing on donating. We'll talk about how to find where to donate, how to know what to donate, and I'll share some of my best tips and tricks. Then we'll walk through the decluttering to donate process using one specific area of your home as an example. Let's get started and declutter your home today to help your community. We've all been there. Decluttering, it can be challenging. It can be overwhelming to even know where to start when you're ready to declutter. It can be emotional. There can be many different types of emotions that are tied to our items and our feelings about decluttering. We can also get caught up in the what ifs. What if I need this item in the future? What if I donate this, but then Aunt Grace is upset that I donated it? There are a lot of what ifs that can be a trap when it comes to decluttering. We can get caught up in so many reasons not to declutter, even though we know the many benefits that come from decluttering. And I like to remember our purpose for decluttering is to make the space and time so that you can focus on what's most important to you. So when you focus on who you can help with your donation when you're decluttering, it's so helpful. I mean, almost magically so. It can help you in several ways. First of all, it helps you flip that switch. Rather than decluttering being a chore, it becomes like a treasure hunt. Rather than focusing on getting rid of items, it gives you the opportunity to share your bounty, your extra items, with other people. It allows you to help your community with a focus. When you know what's needed in your community and you're looking to declutter those items, it helps you focus in and declutter with a purpose. When you declutter to donate, it's better for the environment for several reasons. First of all, you're putting the item that's just going to waste in your closet or in your basement, you're putting it to use in your community when you donate it so that someone else doesn't have to buy that same item. Secondly, you're preventing your item from degrading to the point to where it cannot be donated or put to use. So rather than letting it just sit in your closet and break down, fall apart, you're putting it to use now and helping someone. And thirdly, you're preventing extra items from going to the landfill. Another way that focusing on decluttering with the purpose of donating helps is that when you think about the organization that you're supporting or the individuals that you want to help, I encourage you to think of an avatar. Imagine that organization using your items. Imagine that person or that family being able to use your items and what are their needs, what will help them. Keeping this in mind really helps focus you when you're decluttering your home. Rather than thinking, do I want this item? Should I donate this item or declutter this item? You are looking specifically for items that you know are needed. So that helps you to declutter with a purpose and with a laser focus. When you declutter to donate, you bring joy to yourself by gifting yourself additional space and peace in your home, and you bring joy to your community with your donation. So how do you find the best place to donate your items where they can make the biggest impact on your community? Well, there are several different ways that you can do that. So let's walk through some examples. First of all, you can follow your passion. Let's say that you're passionate about rescue animals. You can donate items to your local shelter or rescue group. For example, did you know that many animal shelters can use expired baby formula that we can't donate to a food bank, but the animal shelter can use it in caring for baby animals. Animal shelters and rescue groups are always in need of cleaning supplies. There's a lot of cleaning that goes on, and every penny that they save and not having to buy more cleaning supplies, they can use in direct care of animals. Items that we have might work for bedding for their animals. Always be sure to check with your local animal rescue group or animal shelter and ask them what is most needed. And that helps you go look through your home for those items. Let's say that your passion is the arts. Often community theaters, your community theater, your local college or high school drama groups, they can use clothing items for costumes. They can use fabrics that you have and other types of props. If you have suitcases or briefcases, or they might be able to use other items that you have that could be used as props in a play. Or if your passion is gardening, often community gardens need items such as office supplies, gardening tools, water coolers, and other items that they can put to use in supporting the community through their gardening efforts. If you have a heart for helping women and children in your community, things like suitcases, backpacks, other types of bags are often in need for foster children or for families who are needing to relocate frequently. Shoes, jeans, t-shirts, sweatshirts are always in demand when it comes to children or families in need. Items that are appropriate for a job interview or for a work environment that are in good condition are always in need. You might have books that can be used in an after-school reading program. You may have knickknacks or home decor items that, when donated to a charitable thrift store, can then be purchased by someone in your community to give as a gift, as a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, a Mother's Day gift, and that can bring great joy to both the giver and the recipient of the gift. So if you have a heart for supporting our troops, military families, and veterans, one way you can do that is through cards. If you have a large collection of blank cards, there are organizations that you can write cards directly to troops or veterans or their families. There are also other organizations where you can donate the blank cards and then they provide them to deployed troops to send back to loved family members. You can also donate magazines or books to deployed troops or to veterans hospitals. You can donate fabric that can be used to make quilts that are given to veterans or given to injured military members in the hospital. So these are some examples of ways that you can donate items to support your personal passions. You can also look for organizations that you're already involved with and that you support already. Perhaps your youth soccer league needs office supplies. Your church may collect items for families that they support. Your veterans organization may collect items to send care packages. Any way that you can support your local charitable organizations, that frees up additional funds for them to put directly towards service. So look for things that you may have in your home that you can donate to organizations you're already involved with. You can also use an emergency or an immediate situation in your community to help motivate you and help focus your decluttering with an eye on donating items. For example, if families have had to relocate due to fire or other emergency, there are going to be specific items that they need donated to help them. If your community is accepting animals that have been relocated due to a hurricane or a flood, well, those animal shelters will have immediate unexpected needs, and you can help them with that. If your community is resettling refugees in your area, those families are going to have immediate needs, and you can look to declutter your home to find items that will support those families. Let's be honest, life is busy, and sometimes we need to be able to donate our items in the most convenient way possible. And that's a legitimate way to find a location that will accept your donations. There are usually charitable thrift stores located in every community, and they benefit your community in several ways. They provide much needed items at a reasonable price. They allow the patrons the dignity of being able to purchase an item that they need and select the item that works best for their own preferences and needs. They often provide job training for people who need to build job skills and provide references for future employment. And those charitable thrift stores use the income generated from the sales to benefit your community through direct service. If your life is busy, sometimes you need an organization that will come and pick up your donations. There are different organizations that will come to your home and pick up your donations. And later, I provide you with some ideas of different charitable organizations that you can contact. And the last way to really think about looking for an organization to take your donations to is sometimes you need to look for the donation that will accept the items that you have. For example, if you have a wedding dress to donate, you may want to look specifically for organizations that focus on accepting donations of wedding dresses. There are some items like mattresses and pillows that can be much more challenging to find an organization that will accept them. Often with a little bit of research and with some of the suggestions I give you later, you'll be able to find these organizations to donate even difficult to donate items. And keep in mind, sometimes one charitable thrift store will not accept an item, but another one will. An example from my local community is we have 2 charitable thrift stores, and one will not accept VHS tapes, exercise equipment, and another one is happy to, and they're 3 miles apart. When my clients have those items like VHS tapes, I know exactly which charitable thrift store to take those donations to. Another example is home building materials. There are some organizations that cannot accept those, and there are others that are happy to. So knowing where to look to be able to donate these items can help you find the best place for you. So using these tips to find where to donate your items, think about your personal passions, think about needs in your community, think about organizations you're already connected to, think about your convenience, think about who can use those items that you have. And at the end of this session, I'll provide you with a list of organizations to help you get started on finding the best place to donate your items. So I shared with you earlier that I've personally worked at charitable thrift stores and food banks. So I've been responsible for accepting donations, processing them, and then distributing them to clients. Let me share with you a few tips from my experience. First of all, research the organization that you're going to donate to and see what they can accept and not accept. When you donate items that they can't accept, you're creating a burden on that charitable organization. If you bring items that they can't accept, then they have to pay from their funds to dispose of those items. And that's taking valuable resources away from helping other people in your community, which wasn't your original intention with your donation. One of the tips I can give you is if you're not sure if they can accept an item or not, bag it separately and label it. And when you go to take your donations, simply ask, can you accept this item? If they say no, then take it home and you dispose of it. If you're told that they can't accept your item, take a moment and ask, do you know of anyone in the community that will? Again, having worked at charitable thrift stores, we had a network. We knew which organizations could accept what items. So if you ask, they may be able to steer you to someone who can accept your item and then make sure it gets to the people in your community who can most benefit from them. When you donate your items, please make sure it's clean. Respect the people who have to handle the donations and also respect the recipients of the donation. Donate items that are in good, workable condition. When you have damaged or broken items, always ask the organization. Many charitable organizations will accept damaged items, for example, textiles, because they can take those damaged textiles, sell them to textile recyclers, and then use those funds for programs in your community. Sometimes they can take metal items and sell them to recyclers, and again, use the funds for programs in your community. So ask first. A tip I'd like to give you is if you are going to donate items that are damaged, be sure to label them as such. That saves time for the organization and allows them to save that time and energy to focus on programs directly helping individuals in your community. Let me share some tips with you to make your donations even more helpful. So first, let me begin by explaining what happens when your donations are taken to the organization. So usually there's a drop-off place and there may be someone who accepts your donations. Then they're taken to another area and they're in effect dumped out of the box or the bag, whatever you put them in. And at that point, the volunteers or workers sort the items and they're looking for items that they cannot accept and those will be put to the side. They're looking for items by categories. It's similar to an organizing process. And as they're sorting through the items, they're determining, is this children's clothing? Is this adults' clothing? They're determining this tool that they're not sure what it is. Does it belong with the kitchen items or does it belong with the craft items? So they're sorting through your donations. And I'd like to give you some tips to make that sorting process easier for the charitable organization. Our goal in donating our items is to benefit our community, and anything we can do to make it easier for your item to be processed and then distributed to someone in your community saves resources that can be used in other areas of your community. So I'd like to share some tips with you that will help you in donating your items. Group items that belong together. So imagine this, you're donating 10 to 20 pairs of shoes. You put them in a bag, you donate them at the donation center, they're dumped out. Someone now has to match all those individual pairs of shoes. So if you'll tie the shoelaces together, or if they're sandals, if you'll link the straps together, then when they dump those items out to begin to sort, they can see, oh, these two shoes go together. These two shoes belong together. It makes it easier. If there are items that go together in a clothing outfit, this is particularly true in infant outfits. There might be a pair of pants, a shirt, and a jacket and a hat that go together in an outfit. If you put them all together in your donation, the person sorting may not realize that these 4 items go together. But the donation is most beneficial for the final recipient if they know that this is an outfit that belongs together. So if you do something like fold them together, sometimes if you get a large safety pin, you can safety pin them together. If you have some string, you can tie them together. Anything that shows that this is an outfit, a group of items that belong together, it helps the organization in sorting, and then it benefits the final recipient of that item. Another area that's really helpful if you'll group like items together is with toys. Often with toys, it's a set of multiple items that belong together, and often it's lots of little items. Group those together, put them in a Ziploc bag, take a piece of string and tie them together, take some masking tape, something that won't be too sticky, that's difficult to remove later, but bind those together with tape. Any way to show that these items belong together. It's really helpful. So another tip I'd like to give you is when you package your items for donation, think about how you're packaging your items when you take them to donate. For example, when you're putting items in a box, put the heavier items on the bottom and the lighter ones on top, so that the heavier items don't crush or even break the items that are in the bottom of the box or bag. Think of ways to help protect breakable items with other items that you're going to be donating. This is a pet peeve of mine. Don't put shoes on top of items you're donating. We want to respect people's self-esteem and donate clean items. One of the things I like to do is very carefully stack shoes so that the soles are either next to each other or the side of a box so that they don't spread the dirt onto your other donations. Another tip I can give you is place items that will get tangled, like necklaces or jewelry. Rather than throwing them all in a box or a bag with other items, just take a few moments and package them individually. You can put them in a sandwich bag, you can put them in an envelope, anything that will help protect them. Rather than donating a tangled mess of necklaces, that item will then bring them joy. So taking these extra steps in how you package the items will make them be more useful. Another tip I'd like to give you is identify items that may not be identifiable in the donation center. When you're looking at your own items, you know, oh, this is the blue floral sheet set. It's the queen size sheet set that always was in the guest room. You're familiar with your items. But think about the person at the donation center or the customer who wants to purchase that or receive that item. They don't know what size it is. So just take a moment, identify with a piece of paper, safety pin it, however, identify what that item is, and then that allows it to be put to use and benefit someone. Some of the examples are sheets, homemade clothing. If you have clothing that you made for yourself, you've been wearing, you know what size it is, but someone else won't know. If you cut the tags out of your clothing, they're not going to know what size that is. So if you're donating children's clothes and you've cut the tags out and they're all size 6X, put those all together in one bag and identify it as size 6X. Another type of item that can be challenging for people who are processing donations are specialty items in a kitchen, specialty items in a craft room, or tools. We all have these amazing specialty gadgets, but is everyone going to know what that is? The answer is no, they won't. So if it's not something that's common, then just take a moment and take a piece of masking tape, take a sticky note that's going to stay on it and identify what it is. If the person sorting doesn't know, is this a craft tool? Is this a kitchen tool? They may put it in the wrong section, or it may actually be thrown away because no one knows what it is. So take a few minutes to identify items that you're donating that may not be obvious to someone who's not familiar with them. So now that we've talked about the whys of decluttering to donate, some of the tips on how to do it and how to find the best location to take your donations, let's walk through the information and use the linen closet as our example on how the declutter to donate process works. Think about the linens you've purchased in the past. They can be incredibly expensive, and especially when you're living on a limited budget. But yet we all need linens. We need bedding, we need towels, pillows, those types of items. So these are items that are in much demand in your community and can really provide a great benefit to individuals in your community. Also, linens are items that are rarely donated. Think back to your own linen closet. Usually we tend to use sheets or towels until they're worn out and until they're not in a condition really to be donated. So between there being a great demand for these items because they are expensive and items that are needed, they're not luxury items, they're necessities, and also the fact that not as many of them are donated because most people tend to use linens until they're worn out. This is sort of the perfect storm for items that are needed when you declutter to donate. As with any decluttering project, you're going to pull all your items out. You're going to group like items together. So take all your sheets and put them together. Take all your towels and put them together. Take all your toiletries and put them together. Within each category, subdivide as needed. So if you have sheets for 3 different bed sizes, go ahead and separate out each of those different sizes. Once you've grouped all your like items together, then we're going to look for items you no longer need. For example, do you have twin set sheets, but you no longer have a twin size bed? Those can be donated. Do you have 2 or 3 extra comforters that you're not using, but someone in your community could put to use today? So look for items that you have you're not using that you could donate, knowing that they're much needed in your community. One of the biggest reasons that we put like items together when we're decluttering is so that you can see visually how many items you have in each category and decide whether you need that many items. So using sheets and towels as an example, generally speaking, you need 2 sets of sheets for each bed and 2 sets of towels for each person. If you have more than that, look and decide, is there a reason why you need to keep more than 2 of each of those categories? And if you have an excess, can you donate those, knowing that there's someone today who could put them to use in your community, rather than you just continuing to keep them in your linen closet, not being used? This is where flipping that switch of looking at items to declutter to donate rather than simply decluttering really helps. When you look at a stack of, let's say each family member in your family has 3 to 4 sets of towels, and now you know towels are really needed in your community. They're rarely donated and much in demand. It makes it easier for you to assess how many sets do I really need to keep and what can I donate? Because you're focusing on donating and helping someone rather than focusing just on decluttering. So now let's talk about different types of items that are usually found in a linen closet and how they can be put to immediate use in your community if you donate them. With bedding that's in good condition, bedding we talked about is expensive, rarely donated, and much in demand. Different kinds of organizations that need bedding are emergency shelters, domestic abuse, homeless shelters, emergency shelters like Red Cross shelters. Foster families can put these items to use. Refugee resettlement groups will happily accept them and immediately put them to use with a family. Smaller blankets can be donated to nursing homes to be used as lap blankets. Baby blankets can be donated to organizations working with grieving families, to foster families, and to children's hospitals. What about bedding that's in poor condition? It can be often donated to animal shelters or rescue groups. There may be craft groups in your area that will use them to repurpose, for example, to make rag rugs or to make quilts that are then donated to help in your community. And they can often be donated to an organization that will accept them for textile recycling. The great thing about that is that they're not put in the landfill, they're recycled, and the funds that the charitable organization receives are put to use funding programs in your community. Pillows are another item, and these can be a little challenging sometimes due to cleanliness reasons. A lot of organizations won't accept them, but you can check with your animal shelter or animal rescue group, a wildlife rescue group. Some smaller organizations working with families in crisis will accept them. You can check, either look online or call around and ask. And finally, you can often donate them for textile recycling. Towels are another category. They can be donated to any organization working with families. They can be donated to animal shelters, for organizations that do community cleanup, and again, for the ones that are in poor condition, textile recycling programs. Do you have sleeping bags that you no longer have a use for? Well, they're rarely donated and can be put to immediate use through many different organizations. Organizations that are assisting people experiencing homelessness will gladly accept the donation of clean sleeping bags. There are fresh air programs that have activities for children from large cities, and they may be able to accept the donation of sleeping bags. There may be scouting groups, after-school programs, and groups working with veterans. So now let's talk about those hotel-sized toiletries. Most of us have them. Many of us have a large collection of them, and they've been sitting in your bathroom or in your linen closet, not being put to use. You've been saving them for what if? Well, now is the time to look at those and think about who in your community could use them today. And when you look at the hotel toiletries that way, thinking about who can put them to use today, it's much easier to declutter them and donate them to help someone in your community. Homeless shelters will put them to use immediately. Women's shelters, refugee resettlement groups, all will welcome these types of items. Many food banks are happy to receive toiletry items. You can check with your school counselors. Sometimes they have care packages that they hand out to students. There are organizations like Comfort Cases that work with foster children that provide toiletries and other items to foster children as they're relocating. You can include them in care packages or donate them to organizations that send care packages to deployed troops, like Operation Care and Comfort. Your local Ronald McDonald House may be excited to accept hotel toiletries. One of the benefits of receiving the smaller hotel-sized toiletries is it's much easier for the charitable organization to manage that inventory, and it's much easier for the client to manage and carry the smaller sized toiletries. So it's much more beneficial for both the client and the organization. Once you've gone through your linen closet and you've determined all the items that you have that you can donate, let's get them ready for donation. So you're going to check each item and think through, are they in good condition? Can they be used by someone? Or do I need to put them in my textile recycling pile? Wash all items. If they're not necessarily dirty, but they're not fresh, I encourage you also to wash them. This respects the dignity of the recipient when they receive fresh, clean linens. Clearly identify any items that are being donated for textile recycling. Clearly identify the sizes of items or the purpose of items if it's unclear. Bundle together any items that are part of a set, particularly bed sheets, and identify the size of them. Place all the donation items, particularly linens, in a clean bag to keep them fresh during transport. Now that you have all your donations packaged to be donated, schedule either a donation pickup time or schedule a time when you're going to take your donation into the charitable organization. What we don't want to have is all your neatly sorted and identified and packaged donations to now become donation clutter. I hope that in walking through how to declutter a linen closet with a focus on donating, it's helped you to see how this declutter to donation process really can make it easier and can benefit your community. When you declutter with a focus on helping others, it's such a powerful way to benefit yourself and your community at the same time. I'm so excited that you're interested in decluttering your home to help your community. And so I'm sharing with you my free list of more than 50 organizations to help you get started in finding the right place to donate many different categories of items in your community. I'd love if you join me in purposefully helping our communities by joining my Declutter to Donate course and membership community. The course walks you through 25 different modules to help you maximize your decluttering and maximize the benefit to your community. I want to encourage you to start decluttering right away. Just think of all the good we can do together when you declutter your home to help your community.